Hey everyone, today we're going to be going through a quick tutorial on how to use theater mode in Black Ops 4. What you're seeing on the screen right now is an example of the cinematics that can be achieved in theater mode using the more advanced features that it offers. Theater mode itself is accessible via the main menu. It splits all your recent games into multiplayer, blackout and zombies. Today we're going to be focusing on theater mode in multiplayer because it offers more features than, say, a mode like zombies. When a game loads in theater mode, you'll be presented with the standard first-person view. Because this tutorial is going to focus on how to create cinematics in theater mode, we're going to want to turn the game HUD off. So under the general options, just toggle that from on to off. So as you can see now, when we return to the game, the HUD is off. Theater mode itself has a few different modes, the first one being the basic mode. So in this mode, you have access to first person, third person, and then a free roam mode. You can speed up or slow down time using L2 and R2, and you can also switch between different players using R1 and L1. In free roam mode, R1 and L1's functionality is changed slightly. It's used to move the camera up and down, and you can also pan around with the left and right analog joysticks. So the next mode, and probably the most important for creating cinematics, is the director mode. In this mode, it allows you to place cameras on a path, and this can enable you to create very smooth cinematics as you're basically automating the direction of the camera. So for this cinematic, I want to follow the character as he's running. So what you can do here is place a camera using R3 at a spot where you think looks nice. Once that camera is placed, you can kind of back out and just look at it. So that camera is number one. Now we want to move the character forward in time and then place another camera. So I'm choosing to place another camera at this point here, and I'm going to try and match the same angle that the first one was at. Okay, so after that's placed, I'm going to let him run forward a little bit more. This time I'm going to change the camera angle a little bit so it's more at a side profile, so it gives it kind of a dynamic feel. So the last camera I think I'm going to place almost behind the character and try and get that 180 degrees kind of pan effect. Now another useful tip is to kind of take a bird's eye view of all the cameras. You can see that the yellow line is the path that the cameras are taking. So this can be very useful to track where your cameras are at. Now if you look on the timeline as well, you can see a kind of yellow diamond, and that is where the cameras start to move. So we want to get to that point before we start capturing our footage. The yellow line on the timeline is where we're at, so we're 30 seconds in, and the diamond is where the cameras start. A handy tip to note actually is if you press up on the D-pad, it will snap to the first camera. So once you snap to the first camera, what you want to do is hold down X, and this will enable the dolly cameras. When I'm playing back the dolly cam footage as well, I usually play it back in slow motion, so I'll hold the L2 button, and this will give me a good indicator of how the camera is moving. So that didn't look too bad, but I might want to change one or two of the camera positions. To do this, what we're going to do is hold X again, and this will kind of bring us into a free roam mode. So I want to go back to this first camera here, and once you get close enough, you'll see that a yellow circle appears. So when that yellow circle appears, that means you can adjust that camera. To go into the options for this camera, just press R3. The first option here, which is triangle, is to replace the camera, so you can put it in a different position. Once you're happy with that position, you can just press R3 again, and the camera will be now in that new location. The X button has two functions in this mode, so be careful. If you press X, you will actually delete that camera, and if you hold X, it gives you the option to delete all the cameras. Pressing square can enable a mode where you can change the speed of the cameras in relation to each other. Now I found this to be a little bit buggy, so hopefully there's a patch coming in the future that will make it a bit more useful. So I think that covers most of what you need to know about director mode. On to the next mode, which is object link mode. So object link mode is quite similar to the basic mode where you can move the cameras around kind of manually, but it has the added feature of attaching to objects, and then the camera will follow the objects automatically. So to get a better idea of how this works, we're going to attach the camera to this helicopter here. So the way the system works is if something is red, that means you can attach to it, but only if you get close enough. So you'll see now when we get close to the helicopter, it'll actually turn green, and that means that we can press R3 to attach to it. So once you're attached to it, you can just use the analog sticks to rotate around it. It'll always kind of keep to the center of the helicopter, and then you can just play your footage. And because the camera is synced to the helicopter, you'll get this nice smooth movement. So there's not really much else to talk about in this mode, apart from the fact that I guess you can attach a camera to almost any projectile, which is pretty cool. Also, I think it's worth noting that similar to the dolly cam mode, there's a few bugs that probably need to be sorted out. For example, if you try and attach the camera to the grappling hook, the camera just goes a bit crazy and it doesn't really work properly at the moment, so some of these kinks need to be ironed out, I think. So the final mode we're going to talk about now is the lighter mode. This just allows further customization of the lighting of the scene. So placing a light in this mode is similar to placing a dolly cam in director mode. You just press R3 and it'll place the light for you. Once you've placed the light, there's a good bunch of options that come up. So the first one, like dolly cam, if you press triangle, you can reposition the light. The second option that is available is to change the type of light. So you can change it from omnidirectional to kind of a spotlight. The next two options are just the intensity and the range. The range just controls how much area the light covers. The intensity will control the brightness. There's also the option to change the lights, so you can change the color of the lights by pressing circle. And similar to the dolly cams, X will delete a light and holding down X will give you the option to delete all lights. Now to detach from a light, you can just press the R3 button. But as you can see now, that actually brings up the problem of you being able to physically view the light and its number in the scene. So to fix this, just switch back to another mode such as director, and that should rectify the problem. As far as I know, in lighter mode, you can place a maximum of 25 lights. So I think that's about it for features in theater mode. Hopefully this tutorial has given you enough information so that you can create some nice cinematics of your own. And if you have any questions concerning theater mode, just leave a comment and I'll try and respond as soon as I can.